Every once in a while, a monster movie comes along that doesn't care about polish, originality, or restraint, and in 1961, audiences got just that. This movie has collapsing buildings, screaming crowds, and a huge creature who stomps around, knocks things over, and just has a good old time doing it. If you love low-budget creature features, if rubber suits don't scare you off, and if you believe that enthusiasm sometimes matters more than quality, then you already understand this movie. Let's talk about it. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, rerun zone.
Bring the children very instructed. This way. Hurry, hurry, hurry to see Gorgo, the last remaining link with prehistoric times. Only 5 shillings, ladies and gentlemen.
Released in 1961, Gorgo arrived during a full-blown monster movie boom. Audiences had already seen King Kong, survived Godzilla, and were more than happy to line up for anything involving a giant creature and a city that didn't know what hit it. Gorgo came along and wasted no time pretending that it's reinventing the wheel. This is a movie where a monster is discovered, the monster is captured, the monster is put on display, the monster ends up in a big city, and things go exactly as badly as you'd expect. Is it familiar? Absolutely. Is that part of the fun? Also, absolutely. Let's be honest, Gorgo is not a high-budget production. Even by early 1960s standards, this is a scrappy operation. But it's still a lot of fun. The monster suit is stiff. The miniatures are obvious. The action is loud, exaggerated, and sometimes unintentionally hilarious. But that's part of the charm. According to production historians, Gorgo was made in Britain but clearly aimed at international audiences, especially the US. The filmmakers wanted the scale of the Japanese monster movies without the resources to fully pull it off, so they leaned hard into enthusiasm instead. The result is a movie that often feels like it's trying to outstomp its own budget. Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it succeeds because it doesn't.
One of London's oldest landmarks smashed like matchwood. Nothing has stopped this beast so far, nothing. Not even point-blank cannon fire.
Gorgo the creature is very much a product of his era. He's bulky, he's slow, he's clearly a guy in a rubber suit. And the film doesn't try very hard to hide that. Instead of realism, Gorgo opts for constant motion. The monster is always smashing, always roaring, always knocking something over. The movie rarely slows down long enough for you to question what you're seeing. But that's probably intentional. Is he scary? Not really. Is he entertaining? Definitely so. And for fans of classic B movies, that's the trade-off you happily accept. The story itself starts about as far away from a big city disaster as you can get. No military command center, no radar screens, just a remote island where something unusual turns up. And even then, it doesn't arrive with sirens blaring. When Gorgo first introduces its monster, there's no immediate sense of danger. Gorgo isn't tearing anything apart or roaring his way into legend. He's simply there, big, strange, and unexpected. And instead of panic, the dominant reaction is curiosity. That curiosity turns into action very quickly. Gorgo is captured with surprising ease and placed under human control, almost as if this kind of thing happens every day. There's no long debate, no moral hand-wringing, just a practical decision. This thing can be moved, displayed, and turned into a spectacle. And that's exactly what happens next.
The headlines of the entire world are being monopolized by the news of the capture of a fantastic monster, seemingly of prehistoric origin, off the coast of Ireland.
Gorgo becomes cargo. He's transported, contained, and marketed like an attraction. The film treats the whole process as sensible and profitable, a solution rather than a potential mistake. Nobody stops to ask whether removing a giant creature from its natural environment might have some kind of consequences. That question never really comes up. What makes this part oddly effective even in a rough and ready B movie like this, is how routine it all feels. There's no urgency, no guilt, no hesitation. Gorgo isn't framed as a living being so much as an opportunity, something to be owned, controlled, and shown off. It's a very casual setup for what eventually becomes very loud, very chaotic monster movie business, and that contrast is part of what gives Gorgo its strange personality. London landmarks are flattened with enthusiasm. Military responses escalate quickly. The destruction scenes pile up one after another. It's big, it's noisy, and it's over the top. Critics at the time were divided, and modern reactions reflect that split. Some viewers see a clumsy imitation of better films. Others see a joyful example of monster movie excess. The kind of thing you put on because it's a little rough around the edges. As many fans on discussion boards have pointed out over the years, Gorgo isn't a movie that you analyze. It's one that you experience.
Nothing has stopped this beast so far, nothing. Not even point-blank cannon fire.
When released, Gorgo was promoted heavily as a major monster event, even though its resources didn't quite match the hype. Behind the scenes, Gorgo was just as scrappy and ambitious as it looks on screen. The project bounced between different production ideas before finally landing as a British-made monster movie aimed squarely at international audiences, which helps explain why it feels like a patchwork of familiar influences stitched together with enthusiasm. The filmmakers clearly wanted the scale of Japanese kaiju films, but they were working with a much tighter budget, so they leaned on suitmation, miniatures, and a lot of energetic destruction to sell the illusion, even though those techniques were already starting to feel dated by 1961. The creature's myth-inspired name hints at bigger aspirations, while the finished film proudly wears its limitations in every stomping step. And in true B-movie fashion, Gorgo didn't fade away quietly. It found a second life on television, in comic books, and even under the loving ridicule of cult movie fans, where its rough edges became part of its personality instead of a flaw. And if you've ever wondered whether Gorgo is worth owning, the most common answer from longtime fans is usually the same. If you like low-budget giant monster movies, then a definite yes. Now, Gorgo isn't here to compete with the giants of the genre. It's not trying to outdo King Kong or redefine monster cinema like Godzilla. What it's trying to do is very simple. Deliver a monster, smash a city, and give fans a good time. And for viewers who love B-movies, the kind with visible seams, earnest performances, and more ambition than money, Gorgo delivers exactly that. It may not win any awards, it may not hold up under serious scrutiny, but if you enjoy movies that are a little shoddy, a little ridiculous, and completely unapologetic about it, then this one is a lot of fun. Gorgo might not be a great monster movie, but it's a great B-movie monster movie, if you know what I mean. And sometimes that's exactly what you're in the mood for. This is Rich from Rerun Zone. Thanks for watching, and good night.